Amos chapter 1, starting at verse 11. All right, Shalom. About to get into it real quick. Okay. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, peace and blessing to the elect of Israel. All right, Shalom. Okay. Come back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shai. And Lord willing, this video is edifying. All right. Amos chapter 1, starting at verse 9. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant." Okay? "And I will send fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the places thereof." Okay? So Tyrus is those Hamites. Okay, let's go ahead and get there real quick. Okay. This is Tyrus in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. It says Tyre or Tyrus. It says Phoenician port south of Sidon and north of Carmel, founded by Sidon. Okay, right, man. So that's those Hamites, man. Okay, that's why the Most High said, "What have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon?" You know, in Joel the 3rd chapter. All right, let's go ahead and get there real quick. Okay. And now, what did Tyre and Esau have to do together? That's when Ham sold Jacob into slavery, you know, when we were inhabiting the coast of West Africa. Okay? And it's all going to tie in. Let me go ahead and find Joel 3 real quick. Shalak. Joel chapter 3, starting at verse 4, it says, "Yeah, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head?" Right, man. All right, talking about the Hamites having to do with the transatlantic slave trade. Verse 5, "Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians." All right, who are the Grecians? Okay, at first they were a Japhetic people, but Esau went and conquered those lands. Okay, so the Grecians in this instance is talking about Edomites. It says that ye might remove them far from their border. Okay, right. All right, so that's what that's really going into. Okay, and that links up with Amos, the 1st chapter. Okay, and that verse that I had was the 9th verse. Okay, now going back to Amos 1, it says, Amos 1 and 11, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever." All right, so yeah, the Lord's saying that he wouldn't turn away from the transgressions of Edom. Okay. Verse 12, "But I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra." All right. Now, what is that going into? How the Lord is going to send missiles on this place, man. Okay? And the Lord's going to send missiles on you damn Edomites. You know? Like the scriptures say about how the fire slay the third part of men. Okay, there's three parts of men. The sons of God, which is the Israelites. The sons of men, which is the heathen. And then the sons of the wicked, which are the Edomites. And the third part of men represent how the Lord is going to send fire on you devils, man. Whether it be by the missiles or by the chariots. Okay? And the reason why I started off the lesson with this is because I'm going to go ahead and break down Deuteronomy 23:7. Lord willing, this video is edifying. All right? So people use Deuteronomy 23:7, okay, and they try to use it to justify that Esau can be saved, you know, or that the Lord is dealing with Esau, all right, which is not true, okay? Let's go ahead and read it. Deuteronomy 23:7. It says, "Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother." Right, now, first and foremost, abhor means to do abominably with, okay? It says, "Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land." All right, now really this is talking about the Assyrians, okay? Because in the Hebrew, in the modern Hebrew, Edom and Assyrian look similar to each other, okay? And in the Hebrew, it's Aram, all right? When you go into the word Edomite in the Hebrew, it's Aramya, you know, which means Assyrian, okay, or my Assyrian, you know. So let's go ahead and deal with that, all right. But before we go ahead and get into that, let's just say, which it doesn't mean so, okay, but let's just say it did mean an actual Edomite, you know. Esau was cut off. And there's many scriptures to show you Esau was cut off. Matter of fact, before you even go to Deuteronomy 23:7, in Numbers, it tells you how Esau got cut off. And in Exodus, it tells you how Esau is getting cut off, man. Okay? So what does that mean? The Lord is backtracking his steps? No. All right? That's talking about an Assyrian. But now let's go ahead and just deal with this real quick. Let's just say it was Esau. Esau got cut off. Now let's read about it. Ezekiel 35, starting at verse 1. "Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it." Okay, when it means to set your face against it, it means, you know, basically be in opposition to it. Verse 3, "And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate." Okay, so the Lord's saying he's going to make Mount Seir most desolate. All right, who represents Mount Seir? Mount Seir represents Esau. The Lord gave Esau Mount Seir as a possession. Okay, the Lord gave that to Esau. All right, let's go ahead and get that real quick. This is Genesis 36:8. It says, "Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir." Okay, so that's the point on that right there, man. All right, so whenever you see Mount Seir, just know it has to do with Esau. Okay, and like the Lord said, he didn't choose the place for the people's sake. He chose the people for the place sake. You know, sometimes the Lord, he refers to the people as the land. You know, like the Lord, he'll refer to us as Jerusalem. You know, he'll refer to Jacob or Israel as Jerusalem. You know, like just like he referred to the Hamites as Tyre and Sidon. You know, here we go. Ezekiel 35, and I'm going to start at verse 4 again. Verse 3, Salakia. "And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate." So the Lord says he's going to make Esau most desolate out of all the heathen. Okay? Because the Lord is not dealing with the heathens. He's not even dealing with 2/3 of our people. Verse 4, "I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and in the time of their iniquity had an end." Okay? Right. And in the time of the Babylonian captivity, you know, when the Lord was having us in the Babylonian captivity, Guess who was right there by the side of them Babylonians? Esau, man. Okay? Helping the Babylonians. So the Most High, he saw that and he remembered that, man. And guess what, Esau? You're going to have to pay for that. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right. And Esau is a bloody man. He's a very violent man. Okay. It said he didn't hate blood, you know. And these devils really don't hate blood, man. They'll eat steak tartare, you know, medium rare, or they'll eat their meat rare, you know. They eat the blood and stuff like that, man, which is going off, you know. That's an abominable thing. You know, these devils really don't hate blood, and they're also violent people. Okay. Esau's blessing is the sword. Verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Okay, so the Lord says he's going to cut off him and him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Okay, meaning what? The Lord is cutting off the whole nation of Edom. Verse 8. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and it says, in thy hills and in thy valleys and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. And it says, I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Right, man. Okay. Starting off with Babylon the Great. But when you devils finish serving your time in slavery, guess what? The Lord is going to make you, the Lord is going to exterminate you devils off the face of the earth. He said he's going to make you perpetual desolations. What does that mean? He's going to forever destroy you devils, man. Okay. And these devils know it. They know they're going down into slavery, man. And they know they're Esau. Okay. Matter of fact, just to prove that, I got this book that I ordered the other day for $5, soft cover or paper cover on Amazon. It's called The Roman Empire, the Empire of the Edomite. Okay. And these devils know who they are, man. And when you read the Willie Lynch letter, Willie Lynch said that, you know, basically their forefathers, their Roman forefathers will be jealous of the system that they had pertaining to the Willie Lynch letter. You know, he said that their Roman forefathers will be jealous, you know, because of the system of slavery that Willie Lynch set up. All right, which was really set up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem El Shai. Because when you read the Willie Lynch letter, there's so many things that you can link it back to the scriptures with, you know, and I've done a lesson on that before. Okay. Ezekiel 35:11 out of Sakia, verse 10, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it. Whereas the Lord Yahweh was there. That's talking about the northern and the southern kingdom, because Israel was split up one time when Solomon went off. All right. And Solomon is Yahweh Shai in the reincarnation, if you can receive it. Okay. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh power, and the Lord lives forever. So guess what? That's going to be accomplished. I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known amongst them when I have judged thee. Right. Okay. Hey, and that kind of reminds me of the scripture when the Lord said in Psalms that he will set them in order before your eyes, you know. And then you're seeing all these camps pop up, man. And these elites, they're trying to shut it down. That's why they go set up niggas, you know, like polite vocab. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, I don't know for a fact that these dudes is set up by the elites, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. So let me not go ahead and say, you know, false accusations, you know, but nevertheless, the elites, they do set up men to hide this truth and to, you know, lead you out of this truth. Okay, for instance, like the guy who created the fallen angels concept. All right, I believe his name is Zechariah Sitchin or something like that. All right, but I know his last name is Sitchin. All right, and that dude is a Freemason. Okay, and he was exposing the elites, but the elites, they basically threatened him. So you know, he flipped it all away by giving you this dogma that there was actually angels that rebelled against the Most High and had sex, you know, with men's daughters, you know, and created giants, you know, which is all just a bunch of BS. Okay, the fallen angels is really talking about the Israelites. And the chains of darkness represent this flesh that we're living in, because we're sold under corruption, which is sin. Okay. And the giants are really talking about men of renown, men of a high stature, high status in society. All right. If you go and watch that movie, Troy, with Hercules, in the ending scene, Odysseus, he says, when they tell my story, tell them that I lived with giants, pursuing back to Hercules, man. And Hercules wasn't known for being a tall man in stature. Okay. He was known for being a warrior. Okay. That's why you get the thing called Achilles tendon. Okay. Because it goes back to, or Slacky, not Hercules, Achilles. Okay. And Achilles, how he got destroyed is he got hit in his Achilles tendon, Nevertheless, pursuing back to the lesson, Ezekiel 35 and verse 11, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel. Yeah, and mountains represent governments, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me, and I have heard them. Right. And Esau is doing that in many different ways. First and foremost, by taking down his people. All right. And then also going against everything the Most High is about. Legalizing gay marriage. You know what I'm saying? Transgenders, all this crap, man. Okay. Babylon as a whole. Verse 13, Slakia. Verse 14. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. Right, man, because there's gonna come a time where the heathen, they're gonna have their time where the Lord, he gives them their land back. That's just goes to show you how merciful the Heavenly Father is. He's gonna give the heathen their land back. Okay, yeah, we're still gonna have them in subjection. They're still going to be paying tribute to the nation of Israel. All right. But when the heathen get their land back, Esau, you're not going to get your land back, man, because you pretty much stole everything. Your land was Mount Seir. That was your possession. Everything you had out of Mount Seir, you stole it. Okay. That's why the scriptures say, he shall swallow down riches and vomit it up because it was none of his. Roughly paraphrasing. It tells you that in the book of Job, man. All right. Because you stole everything. And in Habakkuk 2 and 5, it says, he enlarges his desire as hell. He is as death. All right. Physically and spiritually, this devil is as death, man. Okay. All the way back from the garden, basically feeding Eve that philosophy, which he still got Eve on that philosophy to this day. Thou shalt not surely die. He told the nigga woman, oh, you're an independent woman. You don't need no man. You're a strong black woman, going off, man. Okay. When the scriptures tell you how the woman is the weaker vessel, and Esau knows the woman is the weaker vessel, man. All right. That's why he pacifies these women so much when they call rape, and all this other stuff like that, man. Esau knows the woman is the weaker vessel, man. Okay. He knows. He's just a devil. He's not going to admit it. Okay. Ezekiel 35 and 15, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, talking about our land, it says, so will I do unto thee, thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Right, man. Okay. And Idumea is a Greek word for Edom, And just like it says, you rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel. Hey, them devils is in our land to this very day. And guess what they're doing? They're corrupting our land, man. Okay? Like the scripture say in Isaiah, shew favor unto the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly. You got one of the biggest gay cities over there in Israel, Tel Aviv, Israel, man. This is exactly why you devils are going down. Because you're a bunch of demons, man. And your power is a spiritual demon, Satan, man. Just like our power is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right. Now, let's not get it twisted. Satan and the Most High are in cahoots. Okay? Best believe that. Satan is not doing anything on his own will. Everything Satan does, he gets the ordinance from the Heavenly Father himself. Okay? There's nothing going down on this earth that the Most High doesn't sanction. Okay? Going back to Deuteronomy 23:7. Okay, because like I said, you know, the Edomite is going to come into the Lord's inheritance to the third and fourth generation, you know, which is not talking about an Edomite. It's not talking about a so-called white man. It's talking about an Assyrian, okay? Let me read it again. Deuteronomy 23:7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, which is really an Assyrian, for he is thy brother, and thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land. All right, now let's go ahead and get the precepts on that. Okay, because we read how Esau got cut off. All right, just so like I said, man, let's just say it was talking about an Edomite. Esau got cut off, man. Okay, so now let's really break down what it really is talking about. The first scripture I'm going to go to is Deuteronomy. Let's stay in the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 26 and verse 5. Deuteronomy 26:5. It says, and thou shalt speak and say before the Lord Yahweh power. Matter of fact, now let's go ahead and just read it. Deuteronomy 26:5. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord Yahweh thy power, a Syrian ready to perish was my father, and he went down into Egypt and sojourned there a few, and became there a nation great, mighty, and populous. Hold up. It said a Syrian. Okay? And the Lord, he's speaking to the priest. Okay? And who are the priests? Levites, which are what? Israelites, man. Okay? So he said it right there. My father, a Syrian, went down into Egypt, sojourned there. Okay? And then what happened? Okay? And became there a nation great, mighty, and populous. Let's talk about the children of Israel. Now, if you don't believe it, let's keep on reading. Verse 8, and the Egyptians evil entreated us and afflicted us and laid upon us hard bondage. That never happened to the Syrians, you know, in that time frame. Okay? That happened to the Israelites. Verse 7, and when we cried unto the Lord Yahweh, power of our fathers, and the scripture saying, Joel 2:27, the Most High is the God of Israel and none else. And he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The God of Israel and none else, man. So it's talking about the Israelites. Verse 7, and when we cried unto the Lord Yahweh, power of our fathers, the Lord Yahweh heard our voice and looked on our affliction and our labor and our oppression. And the Lord Yahweh brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with great terribleness and with signs and with wonders. And he hath brought us into this place and hath given us this land, even a land that flows with milk and honey. That's talking about the land of Israel, man. Okay? And the Israelites were in bondage and the Lord took them out of Egypt, man. Okay? So it says, our father is Syrian ready to perish. Who's that talking about? That's talking about Jacob, man. Okay? Because if you go down to the Hebrew bloodline, you know, Jacob was technically a Syrian. All right? He was still a Hebrew, you know, just like how Syrians, they're Hebrews. Okay? But his mother, well, we're going to get into that, man. All right? But let's go ahead and let's go ahead and keep reading. Okay? Now, what I want to get is this. Next scripture I want to go ahead and get is the book of Genesis 29 and verse 14. Actually, I'll start at verse 10 to get the context. All right? But the point of the matter is, before everything was going down, Rachel, okay, Jacob's Slakia, Rebecca, all right, Jacob's mother, told Jacob to go down to find Laban, pretty much, or Laban, you know, because Esau was seeking to kill him, you know. because Esau was mad, which he still is mad to this very day. The scriptures say he had a perpetual hatred, because Jacob took his birthright and his blessing. All right, but that was really all set up through the Spirit anyways. All right, like I said earlier, there's nothing that goes down that is not ordained by the Heavenly Father and sanctioned by the Heavenly Father. All right. Genesis 29:10. And when it says, and it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Okay, and that if you knew something about our forefathers, back in those times, I'm talking about times of Abraham, times of Isaac, times of Jacob, they took on women of their own kindred. Okay, they took on women of their own kindred. So Jacob, he was technically a Syrian, okay? But his name was changed to Israel, which he made the 12 patriarchs of the nation of Israel, is hence where you get the Israelites from. That's why it says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, but it's really a Syrian, for he is thy brother. I'm going to keep reading. Genesis 29:11, and Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother. Ooh! And that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. Okay, there you go. Okay, he says, surely thou art my bone and my flesh. Now, what is that talking about? That means that they come from the same bloodline, man, that they're brethren, and just to prove that, all right, let's go ahead and get this real quick, because like I said before, our forefathers, they dealt with women of their own kindred. Genesis chapter 2, going down to verse 21, and the Lord Yahweh power caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in the stead thereof. All right, now this is all parabolic, okay, because the Heavenly Father, he didn't have surgery on man, you know what I'm saying? He's like, give me the scalpel, you know what I'm saying? Give me the stitches so I can stitch him up and close up his flesh, and the angel was right there with the mask on, giving him the scalpel. This is parabolic, man. All right, he says he took one of his ribs, which is really talking about how he took someone out of his own kindred. That's why Laban said, thou art my bone and my flesh. Okay. Verse 22, and the rib which the Lord Yahweh power had taken from man, made he a woman and brought her unto the man. Hold up, wait. Because in Genesis 1, okay, and verse 27, it tells you how you made male and female. So is the Most High backtracking his steps? No. Okay, this is all parabolic. All right, the Lord is just getting this Adam, okay, which is really talking about the sons of God, women of their own kindred. Okay. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Okay. So that's the point on that right there. Now, let's go ahead and go deeper into that. All right. Because, I have some people, they'll get kind of stumped on that. All right. Which is fine. That's why the Lord has men set up to teach. Okay. That's what we're here for, man. All right. And we do this thing with the joy of heart, man. And for brothers, this is a quick admonition and exhortation. If you're feeling weak, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, you get that thought, you get that demon in your head, like, hey, what am I doing this truth for? Hey, man, more than you could imagine. All right. And for brothers, they know what I mean, man. And I'm gonna leave it off like that. Okay. More than you can imagine, man. But let's go ahead and get this real quick. 2 Samuel chapter 5 and verse 1. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. So what does that mean? Does that mean all the tribes of Israel was taken out of the rib of David? No. Okay, that's you know, like Jake talks in slang, man. You know, like this my blooder. You know how Jake says this my blooder. You know, like my blood brother. You know what I'm saying? Or Jake says you know, Jake talks in slang, man. Okay, which goes to show you we are those people. So it says we are thy bone and we are thy flesh. You know, okay. So that's really saying how, you know, we're of your kindred. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we're of your bloodline, if you will. Because not all Israel was taken out of the rib of David. All right? I'm sure you people can comprehend that. So it's like I said, man, Jake talks in slang, you know? And it's parabolic. Let's go ahead and get some more scriptures on that. Let's go back to Genesis. Genesis 37 and 27. Actually, I'll start at verse 26 to get the context. Genesis 37 and 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? This is talking about when they sold Joseph into slavery. Verse 27. Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Okay? So Judah said it right there. He's our brother and our flesh, man. You know? And you know how Jake still says it to this world. My own flesh and blood. My own flesh and blood. Talking about his family. Okay? You know? So Jake still says that to this day, man. Which goes to show you we are those people. You know, if you can spiritually receive that. Because like I said, man, really, the word is spiritual. You know, there are some physical things to it, but a lot of things are parabolic and a lot of things are spiritual. You know? Let's get another one. Proving that bones and flesh, you know, and the rib, if you will, represents bloodline, lineage. You know what I'm saying? This is 2 Samuel chapter 19, and I'll start at verse 11 just to get the point. Okay, 2 Samuel 19, Salat, and verse 11. And King David sent to Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, saying, Speak unto the elders of Judah, saying, Why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house? Seeing the speech of all Israel has come to the king, even to his house. All right. Now let's go ahead and keep reading. Verse 12. Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh. Wherefore then are ye last to bring the king back? Slack, last to bring back the king. Okay. And ye say to Amasa, Art thou not of my bone and of my flesh? The Most High do so to me, and more also, if thou be not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. Okay? In the room of Joab. So there you go, man. Like I said earlier, it's parabolic. You know, it's parabolic. Okay? I'm not done. I'm gonna go ahead and I want to drill this point in, man, because I don't want nobody to say, you know, Deuteronomy 23 is talking about the so-called white man. You know? And I want it's also for edification, first and foremost, you know. That's what it's all about, man. You know, if you ain't really doing it for the elect and first and foremost for Yahweh Shem Shai, then what you really doing it for, man? Okay, because it's going off to do things in vain glory. You know, this is Ezekiel 37 and 11. Then said he unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dried and our hope is lost. And it says, we are cut off for our parts. Right now, when you read the parable of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, it's talking about the bones, the valley of the dry bones. Okay. And that's really talking about Jake in America. Okay. The valley means a low land. Okay. And America is spiritually a low land, you know. And the dry bones represent our people, how they don't have the wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So we're basically like a bunch of dry bones, man. Land of the walking dead, you know. Here it is. I got 2 more scriptures, and I'll close out with that as far as the bones are concerned. Because, and the reason why I brought that up is because Laban, or Laban, however it's pronounced, you know, basically, he said to Jacob, "Thou art my bone, thou art my flesh," you know, roughly paraphrasing. So, hey, that's talking about you're my brother, man. You're my bloodline, you know, you family. You feel me? Psalms 22, starting at verse 16, it says, this is prophesying about Yahushai, all right, for you OT only Israelites. Psalms 22 and 16, it says, "For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet." This is going into Yahushai's crucifixion. All right, they never crucified King David. King David died of old age, you know. Verse 17, "I may tell all my bones, they look and stare upon me." Do bones have eyes to look at someone? Okay, no. Like I said earlier, it's parabolic. Okay, it's parabolic, representing bloodline, you know. Okay, lineage. All right. And the bones looking and staring upon him is talking about how the Israelites, all right, saw Yahushua get crucified, man. You know. I got one more scripture concerning that topic, and I'll close out on that if the Spirit permits. You know, because we say we're going to do something, but the Most High be like, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Ephesians chapter 5, starting at verse 29. Oh, matter of fact, man, this is really going to bring it all full circle. Because I remember I brought out Genesis, you know, Genesis 2. So let's go ahead and get this right here. Ephesians 5, and I'll start at verse 25. "Husbands, love your wives." Matter of fact, let's start at verse 25, okay? Ephesians 5:25. "Husbands, love your wives, even as Mashiach also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the word with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy, without blemish." Okay? "So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself." Hey, that's why back in Genesis 2, it said, you know, the Lord took the rib out of Adam. Adam said she came out of woman, you know, because she called a woman because she came out of man. You know, this is my flesh and my bone. You know what I'm saying? Putting in look at it in a spiritual sense. Okay, it says, "He that loveth his wife loveth his own body," roughly paraphrasing. Okay, and in Genesis 2, it says, "Man and woman shall cleave together and become one flesh." Let's go. Let's look at it spiritually now. Verse 29, "For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church." Yeah, and we are married unto the Lord spiritually. Verse 30, "For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones." Okay? Yes, there you go. And let's talk about literal, because we are the church of Yahweh. The church of Yahushua is the elect. And we are Yahushua's brothers, you know? He said it himself, you know, "Those that do the will of my Father, the same are my mother and brethren and sister," you know, roughly paraphrasing. Okay? And we are literally of his flesh, you know, parabolically, Salakia. Because we are Israelites. We're his family. We're his bloodline, man. He's from the tribe of Judah, you know, the head tribe. Starting off with Yahushua, matter of fact. Then King David, and the list goes on down, man. You know? But if this may have made anybody stumble, no one is above the Most High. Okay? Because you have a lot of people who like a lot of Old Testament only, who says, I'm the Lord, there's no other God with me. Okay? What does that mean? That means that no one is on the same level as the Most High. And no one is above the Most High. Okay? Everyone is under the Most High. Even Yahushua said to himself, my Father is greater than me. Okay? Now, going back to Genesis 29, bringing it all back full circle about how Laban was an Assyrian, just like how Jacob was an Assyrian. Genesis 29 and verse 14. And Laban said to him, surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? Right. Which goes to show you what? That the law was in there way before Moses. Okay? Because when you had a Hebrew servant, which in the kingdom come, hey, you ain't gonna have no Israelite being a slave, man, if you will, or an indentured servant. Okay? But pursuing back to the law, when you had a Hebrew servant, all right, he served you for 7 years. Okay, and after those 7 years, he left with substance. He left with substance, man. Okay, so Laban was like, hey, what am I going to serve you for? What are you going to serve me for? Roughly paraphrasing, Slakia. So the law was always there, man, since the beginning of time. It was just given down orally. Going back to the lesson. There you go, right there. Laban was an Assyrian, man. Was Assyrian, okay? Because Rebecca was Assyrian. All right, now let me prove that. Okay, let me prove that. Genesis 25 and 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. Okay, there you go, man. Here's another one. Genesis 28 and 5. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padanaram unto Laban, son of Bethuel, Slakia, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. There you go, man. Okay, there you go. So that's the point on that right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Rebecca was a Syrian, which makes Isaac a Syrian. Because like I said earlier, at that time, our forefathers, they took of men of their own kindred, and actually it tells you that in the book of Tobit, okay? When Tobit was exhorting his son Tobias, he was telling him, beware of all whoredom, my son, He wasn't saying, oh, it's going off for you to take a heathen woman. Okay, you could take a heathen woman as a concubine, But the downfall of Jake taking on these heathen women is that Jake goes and serves the other gods, man. All right, and I can attest to that for myself, Back when I was simple, what I'm saying? But the Wadi Yahweh Shema Shai, the Lord, had me escape the pollutions of this world, spiritually. Okay, and Lord willing, it'll manifest in the physical. Okay, when we get beamed up in them chariots, Lord willing, we're the elect. This is Tobit 4 and 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. There you go, man. All right. Which proves you what? That they took women of their own kindred, which brings it all into full circle that Jacob was a Syrian. All right. Isaac was a Syrian. Abraham was a Syrian. Rebecca was a Syrian. Laban was a Syrian. Rachel and Leah, they were Syrians, man. Okay. But wait, there's more. You know? Okay, I already brought out that Genesis 25 and 20. All right, now let's go ahead and get this real quick. I want to go ahead and share a screenshot. All right. Okay. This is pertaining to the Valley of Salt. All right. Now let's go ahead and get that in the scriptures. I'm gonna go to the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 8, and starting at verse 11, it says, which also King David did dedicate unto the Lord Yahweh with the silver and the gold, that he had dedicated all the nations which he subdued, of Syria and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and the Philistines, and of Amalek, of the spoil of Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah. And David gat him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the Valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. Now, this is really talking about how he was slaying the Edomites. Okay? Just like how in Deuteronomy 23 and 7, it was talking about how the Edomite in that instance, it was talking about a Syrian. Well, the Assyrian in this instance really is talking about an Edomite. Okay? Now let's go ahead and keep reading, because literally, if you contextualize it, it'll show you that it's talking about an Edomite. Verse 14, and he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons, and all they of Edom became David's servants, and the Lord Yahweh preserved David whithersoever he went. Okay? So there you go. It tells you how he put garrisons in Edom. All right. Now, let's go ahead and read this article about the Valley of Salt. This is from Wikipedia. All right. And I got this from the brothers out there in Dallas. Okay. That's a camp full of wise men. Okay. And if you want to learn something, definitely subscribe to them on YouTube, man. GMS Dallas, GMS Dallas in class, GMS Dallas reincarnated, subscribe to them, man. You have a whole bunch of elders in that camp, who are wise, okay, true men of the Lord. This is the Valley of Salt. Okay, let's go ahead and read it. It says the Valley of Salt, Valley of Salt Pits, Valley of Salt Pits, or Vale or Valley of Salt Pits. Hebrew, all right, it says Gaya'ah Ha Ma Laf Hamalaf. All right, Gaya'ah Hamalaf. All right, is a place where it said David smote the Armenians. In 2 Samuel 8 and 13, the valley of Arabah is between Judah and Edom, and on the south of the Dead Sea. Hence, some interpreters suggest the phrase he smote Edom instead of the Armenians in the above text. This confusion may be due to the Hebrew word Edom, which is Adam. All right, that's a ah, da, and a ma. All right, but that's the second ma character when it's just the M. All right, because in this one right here, all right, that's a ma character, but that's an ma. This one in here is just an M. All right, and you use that character when you're cutting off a sentence, with the M character, but with no A sound, So right here, Adam, all right, Adam, all right, being similar to the word Aram, all right, and you see how the Dam character and the Ra character, or the Da character, Slakia, and the Ra character looks similar in the modern Hebrew. All right, so it gets misconstrued. That's a mistranslation. All right, it says in Hebrew the Resh, which is really the Ra, okay, and the Daleth, which, like I said earlier, is really the Da, are very similar. The Resh and the Daleth are they are Yiddish, okay. And if you learn the Yiddish, that's fine, but that's not the true Hebrew that our forefathers spake or spoke. Slakia. It says are very similar and easily confused if not written carefully.
Okay, yeah, man, look how similar they look, you know? It says, it is conjectured that while David was leading his army against the Ammonites and Arameans, the Edomites invaded the south of Judah, that David sent Joab, Abishai against them, who drove them back, finally subdued Edom. All right. And then it goes into the Greek Septuagint, you know. 2 Samuel 8 and 13, and David became famous, and after he returned from striking down 18,000 Arameans in the Valley of Salt, New International Version. You know, that's a different translation of the scriptures. All right. Here also Amaziah slew of Edom 10,000 men. You know, 2 Kings 14 and 7, you know, and it gives you more scriptures. Okay. So there you go right there, man. You know, and that's really it. That's really the point. Okay. That's really the point on that right there, man. All right. But I want to go ahead and give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that do it well. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel. All right. Shalom, Lord willing, you brothers was edified. Endure unto the end. Lord is coming back to destroy this place. All right. So keep pushing and keep enduring, brothers. Shalom.